Hello, beautiful people. Let me change that around. How is life for everybody today? See, nobody's here yet, but I'll start with, I already got an upvote, even though there's nobody here. I wonder how that works. Back, I said I'd be here at 5, and big dad advice is if you say you're going to do something, do it. It's good for you, right? Makes you trust the world more, because a lot of what we do in life is, right, that we kind of project our own feelings on others. So if you're being true and doing what you say you do, then chances are you might start thinking more and seeing in the world that the world does what it says it'll do. So, but yeah, so here to offer some dad advice on this warm Saturday in Atlanta, Georgia. And as always, the advice is just that. It's just an opinion. And the first dad advice always is listen to a lot of people and then do what's best for yourself. So, let's see. I'm trying to think. I guess, obviously, if you guys got anything you'd like me to talk to, please throw it in the comments, and I'll be happy to do that. So I hope everyone's having a great weekend so far, wherever they may be in the world. So let's see. And actually, I don't have like yesterday's questions to kind of like prime the pump for the first couple minutes here, because I'm not at home. But I did get a question that someone had DM'd me last night, which is, she asked, what's the one thing you would tell your 26-year-old self? So the one thing that I would tell my 26-year-old self. So 26 is an interesting age, right? So it's no longer really that college age anymore. It's kind of, you started work and you spent a couple years working. And then, I think I would, if the one thing I would tell my 26-year-old self is that I'm enough. To be aware, the earlier I could have gotten, and I don't know when that would have been in my life, but the earlier I could have got to that place where I realized in a real way, in a concrete way, that I was enough, and that I'd always been enough, even though I didn't realize that, right? That would have been the most powerful mind change that could have affected everything in my life. So I would say that would be the one piece of advice. And for some people, it might not be that I'm not enough, right? Everyone has, I find, some type of negative thought. So I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. I'm not likable. Whatever that false thing is, right? And if you don't know what it is, take a moment and try to figure that out for yourself. And sometimes it's going to be a couple layers deep, but if you do the work, you can get there. And then it's just like you get to extract it, and then it's life-changing. So to find out, like, what's that false belief that sits within, that somehow got stuck there from childhood, and extract that as soon as possible. So that would be the one piece of advice I would give my 26-year-old self. But I probably would give that, starting at, 18, maybe I would have understood it, right? Maybe not. But welcome everybody. And, I'll start out just with a reminder, the dadly reminder, that you're beautiful, you're a whole person, and you can do anything you want. That's our opportunity in life, that we can, really go and take it wherever we want. And that's the opportunity we have. We get one chance to do that, and make it ours. And that's the journey. So, let's see, got some comments here. False belief from childhood. Okay. As always, we might have some issues today because honestly, it's not looking like my phone's really letting me see everything, but we'll see how it goes. So we have this nice idea, which isn't perhaps a nice idea. False belief from childhood is that I'm crap. I don't believe that anymore. Good advice. Hi from Liverpool, UK. Cool. Awesome. And I'm glad you call it a false belief, right? And that's, and I think we all kind of have it. And it's kind of weird. I don't know why we couldn't all grow up thinking like that there's this really false, non-ego place of strength, right? Why does it have to be that we all have that? But it does strike me that we all kind of do that, and I'm glad that you were able to get out from under that, because that's powerful. Invest in Bitcoin, yeah, definitely. A 26-year-old self wouldn't. I don't think Bitcoin was around when I was 26. I think Bitcoin started around because I'm trying to remember. I downloaded it early on, 2008 to 2009, something like that. But I missed that. I missed that entirely, and I just wish I could. In fact, I really need to. And I still have the hard drives, so I looked for it on the hard drives and had no success. And the truth is, it was so worthless back then. I really might have just done it for 5 minutes and called it a day. But then again, back then 5 minutes might have been 100 Bitcoin. So anyway, let's see. Dad, should I go to sleep? I've had a bad day because I had a seizure today. I'm very tired. I have my sister over there. She has an opinion. She's saying go to sleep. I think this is, I think it's important that you make your own decision on this one. I think there's sometimes you need to look to your parents for advice, and sometimes when you have to have trust in yourself to make your own decision. And something like this, I would say, is, clearly in the make your own call. But other than that, I'm sorry that you had a seizure. That's obviously really tough. So I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that you have rest if it's not now or later. So, okay, let's see what we got here. We all believe in our parents as kids. That's why I now work with kids to show them that adults are not always the complete truth. Great bit of help for everybody. Cool. Thanks, Sally Bear. Yeah, so let's see what we got. What can we talk about today? I was on the way. I went to my parents for brunch today, and I passed called a parade of kids in this very suburban neighborhood, and it was really beautiful. They were doing a little march, but it was in a typical suburban neighborhood, Black Lives Matter march, and that was really pretty cool to see the impact that and as things are kind of growing in a positive way and making change. And I'm seeing a lot of signs around which are just very positive and kind of hopeful for the future and for society. So and one of the girls, she had a little sign that said, "Be kind." And I thought that's the essence of it, isn't it? That's the essence of it. Just be kind. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to everybody that you come into contact with. And I think that's awesome. Okay. I've got to go back to the military after a divorce. I'm sorry about the divorce. That's a hard place to be. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay with that. How do I reassure my 7-year-old son that I completely love him? Yeah. The first thing I would just throw out there is, if you have the opportunity, no matter what, even it's, at that age, to give him, to some play therapy, because there's an expression, I saw within my own kids that those who had some help along the way ultimately were able to release certain things, even at a younger age. So I would say, if that's not something, I'll go back to the completely love him kind of thing. We can talk about that. But the initial thought is, try to find it's play therapy. They sit and they play. Actually, my mom did it to me when I was a kid, and I just remember going and playing. You don't even realize it's therapy, and which is at that age. So, but give that opportunity if it's there. And I don't know how that works, but with TRICARE and stuff like that. But that'd be cool if it's an option. So how do you reassure your 7-year-old son that I completely love him? Look, I think the thing that I typically come back to with is time, and you know, and obviously if I don't know if you're deploying, if that's what you mean or not, which right, so it creates kind of a distance between you, but it's giving him things, small things that show you expressing your love. Make sure you're expressing your love. I think that's key to say I love you, right? Sometimes we forget, especially as the kids grow up, to keep saying I love you. Sometimes a little uncomfortable, but just to keep saying it, even when it's uncomfortable. I'm talking to myself now, by the way. Talking to myself. Yeah, so so I would say, and again, I'm not so familiar with the options, from a, I would say if you can do a video call daily, right, and it's just keep that relationship, and on the video call it could even be like, hey son, you play, I'm gonna just sit here and do my thing, and there doesn't always have to be engagement even for it, but just knowing you're there, that you want to be engaged in his life. They pick up on that. Kids know who love them. And kids know, they get it. They might not admit it, and sometimes depending on their age, but we see it. We see things, right? And they hit home at the bottom, right? And that's what matters. Yeah, I'm sorry that you're in that situation. My friend's dad died. How should I help him? The initial thing would be to ask. That's the initial thought that comes to mind, is ask him how you can help. And say, look, I'm here for you. But really ask the question of, what do you need from me to help you through this time? And if he says, I don't need anything, ask again a couple days later, right? Just kind of check in daily, or, whatever, depends on the friendship, right? I think anytime you have, pain, real pain, just knowing that there are people in your environment that care about you helps you get through that. So that's where I would just really focus on the reaching out, and just making a constant checking in on you. And you have to don't say it that way, or you can sometimes say it that way, but not always, right? And just want you to know I'm here, and what can I do? And maybe there even, if there's a little bit of depression, kind of helping a little bit without, getting too codependent, or him getting too codependent on you, but helping out with whatever, right? That might need to be there. Take some food. Just be there. That's all anybody really wants, is people to be in their life. But it's kind of you to help. Thank you, Dad and Dad's sister. I'm going to sleep. Sleep well. All right. Thank you for the kind words. Let's see. I had some thoughts on this yesterday. Just a couple things I was going to throw out there. Let's see if I can remember what they were. Oh, I know it was an ask. I'm just curious if everybody's just here for the first time, or if they've heard a couple of these. And then, I think I've explained why I'm doing this, which is that it's meaningful to me, and I'm glad that others find it meaningful as well. And I'm open to some ideas of maybe how to do things a little bit differently, if there are things that come to mind. So please feel free to throw them in there, and make some change along the way. All right. Big Asian 69. I guess you were born in 69. Me and my girlfriend have been together for 5 years, and we're 19 now. We're going to be parents soon. Do you have any tips for young parents? Sure. It's going to be really tips. It's going to be hard. But I don't want to just say that, right? That's obvious, right? It's going to be life-changing. This can be life-changing. I would say the tips are going to go two ways. One's going to be in your relationship and fostering your relationship in a positive way, right? Because there's a lot of stressors. Kids create stressors in relationships. Wow. So that's the first thing, is just really focus on your relationship with her. And then, there's stressors. I mean, I think, it's gonna be, it's make sure you have a good support group. Someone who can help with the kids, with the kid a little bit. Because it's gonna be a challenging thing, especially at 19. It's gonna be really challenging. But here's the thing, is that if you take it seriously, it can be the most meaningful experience you'll ever have. And you're going to be like under 40 when they leave the house. So you're going to have an opportunity to, the weird thing about being, and actually I started having kids when I was pretty young too. I was 23. So there's kind of a conundrum, right? So you can either have that freedom in your 20s, right? And then in your 30s, you start settling down and having kids. But then they don't leave the house until you're like 55. And the freedom in your 20s is different than freedom. So like I'm 45 and my kids are pretty much out of the house. So I now have this opportunity, which is what you're going to have, to be 40 or 42 or wherever it'll end up being, with your kids out of the house. And chances are you've saved some money and you have all this, growing up that you've done, all this maturing you've done that you get to take. So while all your friends, it's just something to keep in mind while your friends might be out partying and stuff, that, hey, you know what? We're living our life a little bit differently, because we all live our life a little bit differently than the next person. That's what makes it our life, as opposed to just, living someone else's life. So really celebrate that, that aspect. Other tips for young parents, like real tips. I'm trying to think, like, what are real tips that I remember? Becomes kind of a blur.
Daddy's rules.
You like my rules? I don't even remember what they were, but those were when the kids were young, a little bit older. But yeah, I had like rules. We had up on the fridge, which were like, be nice, be open. I'm trying to remember what they were. I'll see if I can find them. That was fun. I do remember that. Those were good. I like those rules. All right. I'm Australian and coming to the States to train, so that's the distancing. Got it. Yeah. So. And that's really tough also if you just got divorced, man. So, that's the time when you want to feel connection. But maybe it'll be a good distraction, which can sometimes be helpful. Me and my mom are sick. Fever, doctor says it's normal viral, meaning it's not COVID. But my dad is scared. How to calm him? So let's abstract that question a little bit, if you don't mind, which is how to calm another person who's freaking out. Here's an interesting thing, because given the data that I have so far, he's scared, but it's almost anxious, right? Because there's nothing really to be scared of, right? We know it's not COVID, it's just fever. So how to calm him? Here's something that might be important for you, is to really fully understand that you might not be able to calm him, and that's okay. And we want the people in our life that we love to be comfortable. But the fact is we can barely keep ourselves happy and calm. And we certainly can't make anybody else happy or calm unless they want to be calm or happy, right? So, in a question like this, you might not be able to do that. You might not be able to calm him. And then obviously, like every time, kind of talk about this stuff, ask them, hey, Dad, what could help make you calmer? Right? You know, and then offer that to them. And I'm sorry you're sick. You know, obviously, that's a sucky place to be. Okay. My parents recently found out about my weed problem. How do I talk to them about it? I told some parts of the truth, but I didn't dare to tell them everything. Okay. Tell me why, what were you scared of? And we'll come back. You know, a little more information. And also, what's exactly is the problem? If you can give a little more information, we can talk a little bit about it. How can I tell if a woman loves me or just wants me for my money? I was talking to someone about that the other day. My sister, in fact. And I'll tell you her answer, and then I'll tell you why I didn't like her answer, because she's right here. But I didn't tell her that yesterday. So she's like, look, if she's asking you to buy her all kinds of things, then she's into you for your money. And she might say that's not really what I was saying. This is what I heard, right? Sometimes people tell us things, but we hear something else. So that was kind of her take. It's like it'll become apparent, right? You can see through it. But and that could be. I mean, there's some truth to that. It's not that I totally disagree with that. I mean, obviously, if a person, but let's ask the question a little broader. Let's take out the woman aspect of it. Let's take out the money aspect of it. How can you tell that a person loves you or just wants you for blank, right? Because at the end of the day, what creates a partnership, whether we like it or not, is that the other person's giving us something. It could be attention, it could be money, it could be sex, it could be, right, any number of things, right, at the beginning of a relationship for sure, right? They're giving us something, or why would we be in a relationship with this person over the next person? And arguably, a relationship is an exchange of things. You're giving me things, I'm giving you things. And sometimes when I stop giving you those things, you're like, you know what? This doesn't work for me anymore. And you go find someone else that can give you those things. So, I mean, look, I would say that as you get to know someone, the truth is you'll probably figure it out for yourself. People can hide themselves for a while, but not forever. And over time, just pay attention to what's being said, and what's being felt, and I think you'll be able to know for yourself. All right. I'm going to come back to the weed question, then we'll go back from there. My parents recently found out about my weed problem. How do I talk to them about it? I've told them some of it. I was scared of them being disappointed in me. I don't want to quit weed because I don't think it's that bad, but they're convinced it's one of the worst things in the world, and I'm old enough to make my own choices, but I'm still afraid. Okay, got it. So it's what they perceive as a problem, but you perceive as not a problem, right? And so you kind of, I'm guessing, told them, hey, I'm going to stop, but you're really not going to. So again, let's try to abstract the question a little bit away from weed to make it more applicable to people in general, right? How do you be in real relationship with parents when they disapprove of something that you're doing, and you have a differing opinion from them? Look, I mean, it's tough, right? I mean, it's a tough place to be in life because you want approval from your parents. At the same time, you rebel from them. It's kind of the human nature aspect of things, right? As we're younger, typically approval is what's used to train us, right? To mold us into the little baby humans that we are. Well, approval is often a tool that's used. Even if it's not stated that way, if you think about it and your own experiences, chances are some of that was there. Um, um, and then as we get older, that's why we start rebelling. It's part of the right is that we want to be in control, and we want to rebel against some of that control that they have over us. But we still are disappointed, right? We still feel their disappointment because that's what we've been used to for so long, so many years. I think showing them, some people you can show stuff to and they can hear you. At the end of the day, I think keeping in mind that they want what's good for you, what's best for you. And it could be they don't want you to get arrested if you're in a place where it's illegal, right? Or that they feel that, even just asking them, hey, what are you really scared of? And just have conversation around it. You don't have to admit anything to them necessarily. That's up to you to do that or not. But try to get some more information for yourself around the general topic without making it about you. And the fact is that, in order for us to be our own person, we're going to have to disappoint our parents. Because we have to live our life. And just like you can't calm someone else, we talked about earlier, making someone calm who's anxious about, he's scared about, his family having fever that's not COVID. Also you can't stop someone's disappointment. And the other thing I've noticed is that even when parents are disappointed, that changes over time. Right? This is an initial disappointment, but overall, parents sometimes will just come around to where you are. So, so that's what I would do. I just have conversation around it and see where it goes. All right, let's see what else we got. Makes sense. Good advice. Radar. So I was thinking. Cheers, mate. Cheers. Hear cheers a lot more in the U.S. now than we used to hear. That's something that I noticed recently. Somehow I picked that up along the way, saying cheers, and nobody ever said cheers. And recently people are saying cheers. So I guess it's coming over the pond, which I never say. But anyway, I'm in high school. I have 0 real friends. I speak and chill with people in school, but not outside. How can I make friends when I'm outside of high school? So look, I think you got to invite them. You got to take that initiative. I think that's kind of the thing about friendships is you got to put yourself out there, and you have to make yourself available for friendships. You have to make yourself. I'm forgetting the word now. I forget the word. It's a basic word that I always know. I forget the word right now. But you have to take that risk, right? And say, hey, would you like to hang out? And kind of have at it. I mean, as an adult, I have to do that a lot. And in high school, at least, like you're doing stuff together. So it's like, hey, let's continue doing this somewhere else. As an adult, it's kind of like, let's hang out. And that kind of, doing what? So it's a whole different kind of thing. Yeah, it's not approachable. It's actually, the word I'm looking for is more like, when you put yourself out there and vulnerable, it's like a vulnerability kind of word. It starts with a C. Not common. Okay. 21 Shy Pandas. I might have missed your question. Sorry if I did. I think I missed the question. How to know someone taking advantage of your innocence? Don't be innocent. Meaning, I want everyone to be innocent. I'd like to be innocent. But there's an old saying that a story went like this. Back in Russia, and a guy knocks on a farmer's door, says, "I need a place to stay." And farmer says, "Okay, you can stay in the stable. You stay there overnight." So and I'm not great at telling stories, by the way. I'm not a descriptive kind of guy, so I apologize for all the pauses. You can stay there overnight. So he says, look, it's up the ladder. You go to the first floor, and you can sleep in the hay pile that's up there. So, so the farmer, in the middle of the night, farmer hears a noise because the guy that was staying with him has fallen, to the ground. And the guy that's fallen says, like, dude, why'd you remove the ladder? And so the man said, look, I figured if you're an honest person, you'd sleep there. And if you were a dishonest guy, then you wouldn't sleep there, right? And so, I gave you the opportunity, to sleep there because that was the right thing to do. But I protected myself at the same time from stealing my stuff. So that's the general approach I think you have to take in life, is this aspect of, always honor people and give them the benefit of the doubt, but protect yourself at the same time. So that's the advice there. You're welcome, Flaterick. Let's see what else we got here. Back to the high school friend thing. So I don't like them enough. I mean, how can I make friends when I'm not anymore in high school? Oh, what do I do? I see. So you're not in high school anymore, and you're looking to make friends. So look, I think shy is I get shy. Sometimes I feel shy, so I understand that. I think you have to ask: is it social anxiety, right, at play there? And if so, perhaps you can, there are tools that you can work on to make yourself less socially anxious. That would be the first thing that I would kind of throw out there. Meetup is a great way to, take one of your interests, whatever that might be, and force yourself to go to a meetup group to meet people. And I did that. I met people through camping, and I met 3 people through, like a maker space and different things. And now I found a group of just guys that chill once a week, and I hop on a conference call with them. Usually they meet in person, and I'm starting to meet guys through that. So I think it's about figuring out like where your people are, and then putting yourself in that environment, and going with it. But you got to put But I understand. I mean, there's and again, to me, I think I kind of associate shyness with social anxiety a little bit, because that's how it's always worked with me. So, and just working on the social anxiety aspect, because you got to feel connected to people. We all have to feel connected to people. We have to feel connected to ourselves and to other people as well. In the itchy and scratchy CD-ROM, is there a way to escape the dungeon without using the wizard key? That's a good question. That's a very cool random question. I appreciate the randomness of that question. 21 Shy Pandas, if you want to throw it back out, maybe I might have missed what the question was. Okay. Any advice regarding how to select a topic to study in university? I'm having a hard time deciding between my interest and, on the other hand, going for cash. Yeah, so, we've talked about this a little bit before, because I think that's the challenge, right? Is that how much of our soul are we willing to sell, right? Because that's it, right? In general, a lot of the time, the things that really feel good to us, don't pay well. And that's just kind of an unfortunate truth that I've noticed. Yeah, and so, but that's a decision only you can make, ultimately. So, at least you know what the question is, right? That's the question. The question is what's more important to you? Really flowing through life in something you enjoy, and maybe struggling a little bit with money, or, right, there's a choice before you, or taking the cash route, and then maybe struggling for meaning, in your daily life. So I think that's the choice, and you just have to kind of choose that. And then the question is there an in-between, right? So can you figure out a way to make your interest making money? So sometimes there's an opportunity there to kind of make some changes in if you're a go-getter, right? Because I believe that anybody that's really willing to work can get anything they want. So, maybe you can figure out a way to make your passion a business, and really succeed, and have everything. So hopefully that's helpful, but, yeah, I always wonder, like, I know what I did, right? I chose cash. I chose the cash route. Security was more important to me than meaning. Yeah, that's what I did. I don't know if it was right or wrong. Some questions aren't right or wrong. I think it's important to always kind of remember that they just kind of are. We'll make our best decision, and we might struggle with the outcome of it, but most good things have bad outcomes, and most bad things have good outcomes. So nothing's 100%. Okay. How do I stop feeling this imposter syndrome in myself? Like when I'm not in my best mood or living my best, I feel like it's almost fraudulent. So usually when I hear about imposter syndrome, it's like first day on the job, and you're like, these guys know I'm a faker. These guys know I don't know anything. That's typically I've heard imposter syndrome. And so here you're saying that this is just like people are like, I look like I'm in good shape, but it is, yeah, but it does feel kind of like they're gonna catch you in the lie. But maybe you shouldn't fake it when you're not feeling well, right? Meaning maybe you need to give yourself a little break and live in that space of not being your best, and give yourself, the space to not always be perfect. None of us are always perfect. Again, if we talked about like the whole self idea of looking at yourself as a complete whole. So don't look at yourself in that moment. Look at yourself over time, right? And over time, you have good periods, you have bad periods of your life. And if it's taken as a whole, you're a good guy, right? Things are cool. Or gal, as the case may be. So that would be the first approach I would take is kind of looking at the broader the broader picture and owning the truth, which is that broader picture of yourself, and really owning what you're feeling when you're feeling negative. We got to own all our feelings in order to feel really connected to this world. Otherwise, we're kind of creating a block between us and the world, which is pretty, I find unhealthy. Let's see what we got here. My thing messed up again. Let's see here, I got here. Try to scroll back up. Here we go. I have an online friend who's showing signs of bipolar 2 disorder. He doesn't have many solid friends, and I've done my best to let him know I'm here for support. That's awesome. I don't hear a question there. Look, that's what friends are for, is, to offer support when they need it, and and to offer us support when we need it. But good for you for being there for your friend, and good for us for all being there for our friends, because that's a choice that we make. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, okay, there's a continuation here, I see. And I'll come back to Zachary in a moment. So this is the bipolar question. However, I feel I sometimes lack the proper tools to help him. Any advice on how to support someone who gets suicidally depressed and is long distance? I bet you, and well, here's what I would do. I don't have any advice really, other than kind of what I would do in your situation. Is that I bet you there's a bipolar hotline, or there's obviously suicide hotline. Even posting, I'm sure there's a r/bipolar, and just say like, what are the resources that I can really, be a better support of my friend. That's probably would be the approach I would take. Is kind of, I don't know. That's something I don't know. That's something I don't know. Okay, and I always like to mention anytime like I kind of throw out there I don't know it. It's really important when you don't know something to own that you don't know it, and it's good for you. It's truthful for yourself. It's good for your ego, and it's good for the other person. And I think I skipped something, so I'll go back. There's also a girl I've been very close friendship with for the last 3 years. And I've been so close to asking her out, but I'm scared because she's moving to a different state for college. Should I still tell her how I feel? So I hear two questions there. Look, I think we should always, I think if that's something you want to do, then you should absolutely do it. I think if you don't, you're going to regret not doing that later in life. Most things that we don't do because we're afraid to, that's when the opportunity for regret comes in. So my initial advice would be that absolutely, ask her out, and maybe you'll have, relationships don't have to be forever. Relationships can be for a week, it can be for a month, it can be for a year. So in opening up your mind to that a little bit, that it doesn't have to be a specific way. I think is an important thing. But absolutely, go for it and see what happens. Let us know what happens. Let me know what happens. So I got about 2 more minutes here. So if you don't mind, I am curious. I think I asked this earlier, and I'll try to answer some of these latter questions tomorrow. I'll be back at 5. We'll do it again. But I am curious if any of you guys have been here more than one day, and then also if I have helped you in some way, given some advice that's going to make a difference in your life, please just say thank you at the end. So I have that to kind of say, hey, you know what is making a difference in people's lives, and I keep doing it. But with that, let's see here. So I'll probably end at about the 1 minute mark here. But I always like to kind of begin and end with the same thing: that you are beautiful, you are whole, and you can do anything that you want to do. And I always focus on, what does this mean? You're beautiful. It means that you're perfect in your own way. And you can see that about every person in the world and everything in the world. And recognizing about yourself in a real way, I want you to really know that, that you're beautiful. I want you to know that you're whole, right? You're not just part of, right? There are parts of you, but that's not you. You're the bigger picture. And that helps, like we were talking about earlier, with, the discussion around wholeness. And that you can do anything you want. That only your mind holds you back from whatever you want to do in life. So really, I hope until we speak again, all is well with you in your life, and you have a wonderful weekend, and really happy, just fun. Let's have some fun. Just enjoy your time. Cheers. So thanks, everybody. Be well.